Hi guys, my name is Anne and I am Quantum Heart Living. Thank you so much for joining me. We continue on this wild ride, this journey, if you will, through the energies of our planet, of this awakening, this mass awakening, this journey collectively to higher consciousness living, and it's pretty fantastic. It is a very dynamic ride. There are a lot of ups and downs on this journey, and there are a lot of reasons for that. Now, what is coming through right now, energetically from a collective standpoint, is this whole message about your story, about our story, about where we sometimes fall back on our old story of ourself, and really more importantly, where that story came from. So this is a recurring theme that keeps popping its head up in so many areas of life. A lot of people may feel themselves going back to some emotional depths, the root of some of their childhood, reliving some experiences, dreams of old friends and acquaintances, and even your own children. So really thinking about, how you impacted your children, how your parents impacted you. There's a lot of reminiscing, there's a lot of emotion around just this whole past, and where some of these collective energies are now becoming more realized, and we're becoming more aware of some of these patterns. Now, this is happening on a huge scale. We're seeing more and more people communicate about the psychological depths of what is happening within them. We're seeing more and more people communicate and understand how the brain is working and how the subconscious and the conscious work together. And it's pretty fantastic when we really step back and take a look at how this all works. So many of us are bound by this story that we tell ourselves. And what I'm finding is so many people are starting to realize now that there is this great realization of the story we tell ourselves. And so much of this is just how we have operated, depending on your personality and where you sit, especially for highly sensitive and empathic people. This is very much, I believe, a trend, and where we have adopted really other people's identities based on their projection and their lack. And we're starting to really clearly see now that when we really look at the people that were had influence in our lives, especially at an early age, and when we tend to be more codependent or people pleaser types, we really don't know that this is happening. Also, there are so many that have been influenced by, these very nasty tactics of gaslighting and manipulation and narcissistic control. And so much of this now is bubbling up to the surface. We're starting to see everything for what it truly is and was. Now, when we start to fully recognize and see these trends, and we start to see parts of our personality, we get these, and I'm feeling this very strongly, these aha moments of, oh my goodness, that isn't even me. That is my mother or my father or somebody else that is coming through in my personality. And we're starting to really see this separation as the veil is getting so thin. So that is pretty exciting. And when we start to really see this and realize that so much or some of what our drivers, our subconscious drivers and our behavior have been and were embedded in somebody else's projections, it's like, wow, that isn't even who I am, I have a chance to redefine myself. So that created the story. And some of those things are so deep running. The programs have been there for a very, very long time. So, a key thing here is to remember that this takes time in cases to really work through and understand some of this. Some of it will just, come to light. I'm finding that that's probably what many of us have experienced lately. It really takes a weight off. You can wake up the next day and really experience sort of a higher, like you feel lighter, that maybe there is a weight taken off. And some of this is related to that exact thing. We are no longer holding on to this energy of other people. We are realizing that some of who we are, they've adopted some of our personalities, and we've adopted some of their weaknesses, and there's this whole commingling of energy. And once we start to really understand this and realize that the energy, the thoughts, the whole driver system, the ego management is really what we can now own and take hold of, we can release that need, we can release that energy, if you will, of other people's projections of what they wanted us to be based on themselves. Now, this has, of course, ramifications to it, because now we need to really create our new story, our new identity. Who are we now when we stand fully and strongly in our own self-identity, our own power, our own belief system, our own validation, which is really important to trust and believe in your own decisions and your own choices. And so much of that is really based on, we've let go of some of this. Now we have to trust the guidance, have the faith in our intuition, have the faith in source energy, have faith in the quantum experience of creating our reality. So we have to be kind of strong in what does that reality look like. So it's a fine line between flow, because so much of it, if you're sitting in alignment, if you're understanding and releasing this stuff, comes to you automatically. And that is a bit of a change, because we're used to so many times forcing. So it is a fine line, and it's a balance that we all have to sort of learn to navigate. Let go of those people who do not support your growth. There's going to be some out there who don't want to see you improve, to get better, a better view of yourself, to have a higher experience, to have a higher frequency. And in some cases, we just have to move on past that and keep growing ourselves. Those who really are meant to be in our lives will still be there. So don't be afraid of doing that. Release the old story, create the new, and allow, because this quantum space is very dynamic, and it doesn't really take a whole lot. We're used to this push struggle, and we have to learn to slow down a little bit. There's so much beautiful energy. You can almost, it's palpable, in my opinion. There is just this beautiful influx of supporting, gorgeous energy, tingles. You can feel your energy body activating. And then we've got this other side, which is the old story activating. This whole aspect of limiting thoughts. You can't do that. You can't go there. It's not that easy. You can't, that ongoing mind chatter. These things are both in play right now. So it's really important to sort of understand that the ego is afraid, because this is also very new, and it is also very beautiful. The last point I wanted to make is being gentle and kind and compassionate does not mean being weak, and very far from it. I mean, we make so many assumptions about people and people about us. And what you see, the physical body, I mean, all of that isn't really what's happening. this is all sort of a narrative that is going on. There is strength in what may visibly perceived as weakness. Never underestimate the power of an empath. And really, you can maintain your gentle aura. So many of us have tried so hard to deal, especially highly sensitives, with so many people just throwing their energy and negative energy at us that we have had to put up so many barriers and become very tough and very strong. Deep inside, we are just wanting to really be releasing all of that and really be our true selves. But at the same time, we know that we are very strong, courageous warriors who many of us have fought some very heavy-duty battles, although we may not appear that way to most people. So stay in your gorgeous power. We are making our way through some very interesting times, as I keep saying. What you want is within your grasp. If you can believe it, you can achieve it. And it is so great to talk to you, and we will definitely talk soon. Bye.